Hi Kevin, Property Soldier here. Okay, so I'm outside of one of our current developments, and this particular one is a guest house B&B, and we're converting this into an apart hotel. So what I'll do is I'll give you a tour of the property inside. So it's getting fully ripped out, fully refurbished at the moment, so it's not looking its best. So I'll give you a tour around the property, and at the same time what I'll do is I'll explain exactly this type of property investing model as we go through. I'll find a quiet room because the guys are in working at the moment, so I won't disturb them too much, but I'll find a quiet room and then we can discuss exactly what we're doing with this property. So what I'll do is I'll flick the camera from me to look at the rooms as we go through, and if you've got any questions, just type the comments in the comments section and I will get back to you after I have done this video. Okay, so follow me. I'll flip the camera around. So this is a 5-story property and it's got a basement level as well. So just moving into the property itself, what we'll do is we'll actually go into the ground floor or lower ground floor first, and then we can work our way up throughout the property. Hiya. Okay, so this is the lower ground floor. As you can see, that's the street just outside where I was talking to you from. And what we're doing with virtually all of these rooms is turning them into studio apartments. So we're going to be putting ensuite facilities into the rooms now, fully just ripping it back to brick, and you'd be surprised, it's like peeling an onion, all the different problems you find once you start peeling. But it's definitely worth doing this type of full refurb straight away so that you can get all of the problems rectified from the get-go, and then you're not just papering over cracks for the next 10-20 years, which in the end is a lot more hassle and can prove to be a lot more expensive in the long run if you do that. So yeah, we're turning all of the rooms into ensuite rooms, but also we're going to be putting kitchenettes into the rooms. So this room here, gorgeous wallpaper. This room here, again, is going to have a kitchenette in here, and that's what makes it a apart hotel, because ultimately what you're now doing, this is going to be a nice big room converted into a studio. Ultimately what you're doing is removing the requirement for creating breakfast for people. So now when people are booking you on booking.com and they're booking you on Airbnb, etc., they're booking a self-contained apartment. So literally you've just turned an ensuite room, you put a little kitchenette into the ensuite, and now they don't expect anyone to be cooking for them. They've booked a self-contained property. And now what you don't need is the owner's accommodation. You don't need the dining room, the lounge, the large kitchen where all of the food prep used to take place. You don't need all that space. So what do you do with that space? You convert that into studio rooms as well. And so what you do effectively, I'll take you into this nice room here. You can see the ceiling rows, gorgeous ceiling rows, and this is a beautiful space in here. So we'll end up with two studios in this space. Ultimately what you're doing by this implementing this model is significantly increasing the commercial value of the property, because this particular property, the owner in her 70s, she was only letting out 6 of the rooms. And a lot of guest house B&B owners do this because it keeps them below the VAT threshold. So the VAT threshold currently at 85,000. They don't want to breach through the VAT threshold, or they only declare under 85,000 to stay below the VAT threshold. And the problem with that is that they have significantly damaged the commercial value of the property, or they've reduced the commercial value of the property significantly, and now they've got a problem selling. So you can pick up these types of properties really, really cheap because the owners are struggling to sell or get a price that they need in order to sell. Because with commercial lenders, they want to see the books, they want to see the trading history, the accounts on the property, and then they will just value it on a commercial basis. So when they haven't been declaring, or they haven't even been operating the property at full capacity, they've damaged the commercial value of the property. That means that they struggle to sell the property because buyers struggle to raise the funds to buy them. And because they are C1 commercial properties, people can't buy them with residential mortgages. So some people might think, oh, that's a nice big house, I'd love, to live there myself, and just buy it with a residential mortgage. They can't because it's a C1 commercial property, and the residential lenders will not lend on it unless it goes through planning. And so that's obviously a large, elongated process. Okay, so let's just have a little wander further through the building. Try not to get in the lad's way. As you can see, all of the wallpaper getting stripped off the walls. A lot of this initial work, it takes a lot of time to get done, but it has to be done. You just strip it all back to brick or to if the render's okay, and then you just start from scratch. So what you find when you start stripping these properties back, let me just flip the camera around. So this used to have an ensuite in here, and as you can see, the previous ensuite was just leaking away. Okay, and all of these en-suites, so I'll show you the roof when we get to the top, but just leaking away, and years and years and years and years worth of leaking, and it just rots everything and ruins everything. And in the end, you've got a massive problem when these leaks go unchecked. So that's why we strip it all back to find out all of the problems and get them rectified, and then we crack on. Okay, so let's just go in here. So it's another room. We're going to end up with this property with 16 lettable rooms, so 16 studios. Many of them with kitchenettes in the property. So we're still not at the top. So as you can see, there's been evidence of more leakage going on there. It's the old lath plaster that you can see, so the really old-fashioned lath plaster. That can be a bit messy when you're scraping that back. Again, let's spin this one round. Look at all this leakage that's been going on over the years unchecked. So yeah, a lot of this is totally rotten and has to be ripped out and replaced with dry wood, which is always useful. And we're still going. Testing my fitness, this, talking and running up and down stairs at the same time. So now we're into the top floor. So in here, we're actually having to replace the roof because the roof has shot, totally gone, and an awful lot of the beams and things like that were rotten, having to be replaced. And again, more evidence of the previous en-suites leaking away and rotting everything, and ingress from the roof. We're having the property fully re-rendered on the outside, as well as a new roof and everything done inside. That's going to end up brand new. So again, you can see in here us having to replace the roof, etc., etc. So fully rewired, new central heating, all of the Wi-Fi up to the best standard Wi-Fi into the property as well, because that's going to future-proof us for all of the demand that might be necessary when all 16 rooms have got umpteen devices all streaming live, etc., etc. in the future. So that's the model with this type of property. What we do is we significantly increase the commercial value of the property, and then once we have done that, then we refinance against the new commercial value and pull all our money out, all our investors' money back out of the deal. So the model we're doing as well, in terms of how do you raise money for a deal like this? Well, we use joint venture finance. We give a significantly better rate of return to our investors than they're capable of getting in the banks right now. And actually, the model that we're doing is earn whilst you learn. And so our investors, what we do with our investors is we create a blog, and we update the blog weekly with everything that's going on with the deal. And so the reason why that is cool, and we put the process chart and exactly every single step involved in doing this type of deal. And only our investors get access to that blog and all of that information. So whilst they're getting a much better rate of return on their money that is secured against, in the deal, they're learning how to do it as well. And so once they're ready to do it themselves, they have got exactly this process to follow in order to get this type of deal done. And do you know what? I've never been more excited about this type of property investment strategy, because the demand for serviced accommodation is, going crazy right now. And recession, there's definitely going to be an awful lot more opportunities to acquire failing guest houses and B&Bs and turn them into awesome, fantastic apart hotels. And there's lots of different creative ways of funding deals like this. Obviously, I just mentioned about doing joint venture finance, but you can also acquire these properties with lease purchase options, so you can take control of the property, agree the purchase price, so at today's value, get your refurb done on the property. Still haven't bought it, but you've got the purchase price agreed. Then get it commercially valued before you've exercised your right to buy the property at the lower price. Really important you do it this way round. And then what you've got is a RICS survey report, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors survey report, saying what the property is worth commercially. Once you've got that, you then use that to raise funds. So you can go to investors, etc., and say, look, I've got a RICS valuation report saying commercially the property is worth that. And you might need to raise, say £200,000 to buy the property, but the RICS survey commercially says it's worth £1 million, okay? So do you think it's going to be hard to raise £200,000 with a RICS survey report saying it's worth £1 million? The answer to that one is no. So you raise your £200,000, exercise your option to buy it, and then you immediately refinance to get its new commercial value, its actual commercial value, and pull all that money back out, give it back to your investors, their money with interest, and you've ended up with the asset cash flowing you tens of thousands of pounds a month. Well, on a good month. And so if that's the sort of deal that excites you, then yes, you're definitely paying attention, because that's the sort of deal that definitely excites me. And there's going to be so many more opportunities to do deals like this. Other ways you can do it, you can use it using development finance, you can do it yourself that way, bridging finance. If you've got all the cash yourself to do that, that's absolutely fine. But if anyone is actually interested in knowing more about the earn whilst you learn type process, then send me a message, contact me. You can just use Facebook Messenger or whatever it is. Contact me and I'll give you more information on how you can become one of our investors. Learning how to do a deal like this yourself whilst earning a hell of a lot more money than you could possibly getting in the bank right now. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully you found that interesting. Here's to your serviced accommodation success. And remember, your future needs you. Take care. See you all soon.